Good morning, starshine.
You seem happy this morning.
Morning, everybody. Thanks for coming in early.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local. Live from the J. Michael Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Filling in this morning, it's Coach Brian Haddad.
Well, apparently this is Gator talk this morning.
Why not? Change things.
You had one job. One job.
2 buttons, one job.
Unbelievable. It's a Gator hot tub today.
Yeah.
Really made me sweat.
Yeah.
It's gonna get hot tub.
Yeah.
Really made me wet.
Oh, sorry, folks. That's what happens when the substitute teacher comes in. Everything just falls apart.
Just goes right to hell. But
Oh, my goodness. Well, welcome in on this fine Thursday morning here to the Coach James Hale Show. That hurricane's still spinning out there, so Coach Hale's still spinning out there somewhere.
I let him know it's going to be up in Nova Scotia, so he ain't got anything to worry about.
Just sure glad I don't own any property on the Outer Banks.
Isn't that the truth? Good. We're gonna reset the shoreline here over the week. It's a nasty storm too, but thank goodness it's not here. That's all I'll say. So. Well, this is the Coach James Hale Show. I am Brian Haddad sitting in for Coach Hale today. I am joined by our regular Thursday crew here, Jeremy Pridgeon. How are we doing this morning?
Doing well, Brian. It's been a little while since
it has.
I think it's spring of the year, so hope you had a good summer and
I did.
Do anything exciting.
I've been traveling quite a lot. I recently spent a week in Orlando making sure that 48, 11 to 14-year-olds didn't burn a hotel to the ground, and successful.
You know, when you're traveling with a group, the bar for success is pretty low.
Yes. Yes. That is.
Anything else is gravy.
Yeah. Now, when I had to go through the rooms after we checked out, wow, a lot of these kids clearly have butlers and maids who follow them around.
They rearranged the rooms.
Oh, it was ugly. It was something else, but nothing on fire, so I take that as a win. And Tommy Santamont joining us this morning as well. Tommy, good to see you.
Yep, good to see you too. I hadn't seen you in a while, as Jeremy said.
Yeah, well, I guess Randy had changed the locks here for a little while.
Glad to see you this morning.
Figured out how to hack it. Well, the director of communications, James Hale, very good.
Of course.
he's been called a lot of
He has
things.
ways to try to make you come to the show.
That's right. So
Yeah, he makes you feel
For
guilty.
a little bit, I wouldn't
he's
be
like,
here.
I tell you what, if you cover for me, I'll let you buy my lunch next week.
Right.
Yeah, somehow that works out. And then push the wrong button in there, Wildcat.
Yeah, I'm kind of here.
He's getting ready for that Long Island University game.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe with a little Long Island iced tea back in there.
No, I'm looking forward to Toledo and Kentucky coming up on the 30th.
Well,
I'm so excited about that one.
Exactly. Well, we do thank you for joining us this morning. We are your home for the Atlanta Braves. Braves are off tonight, but we do pick them back up. Tomorrow night, they start a 3-game set with the New York Metropolitans there at Truist Park. So you can catch that here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. First pitch at 6:15. But, of course, this is the Coach James Hale Show. So what do we talk about in here? We talk local and college football, and we have got it. We're here, guys. We have finally made it to opening weekend here. We're going to talk at 7:15 in the next segment with Coach Tommy Joe Whidden from the Mosley Dolphins. Looking forward to their big matchup with Rutherford tomorrow night at Tommy Oliver. Of course, the season actually kicks off tonight at Tommy Oliver with the Battle of the Bridge, as it were. The Bay Tornadoes will be hosting the Arnold Marlins in what I'm sure will be a spicy matchup. It always is when those two get together.
Always.
Tommy added a few grays probably back when all that was going on initially.
Back in 2000 and all, whenever they decided they were going, all the kids from Bay was going to come to Arnold. That was quite a nightmare.
Everything that's old is new again, but no, that should be quite a matchup. We talked to Coach Brown yesterday, and then, of course, we'll go through later today. We have our initial high school picks of the season that I know everybody looks forward to. Yeah. So let's get over. We've got other sports going on in high school, and we're going to go onto the phone lines and talk to a guy right now who knows of other sports that are starting tonight as well. Is this Coach Steve Burdishaw I'm talking to this morning?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Steve. What's up, buddy?
Well, we got our first swim meet tonight, the freestyle meet with Mosley and North Bay Haven, Bay High, and Arnold.
All right.
And we get to see what everybody looks like, see who's fast and who's got the deep roster that can go all the way. So it's going to be good. Yeah, we start with diving at 4 o'clock, and then we start with swimming at 5 o'clock.
And that's all out at Frank Brown Park, correct?
All out at Frank Brown Park. So we're all excited to get it all kicked off, and I appreciate you letting me come on and chat about it a minute. And I also appreciate you putting the meet together for us. Thank you, sir.
well, I don't know. It hadn't happened yet. Hopefully, I didn't mess anything up. It's been a little while.
Don't touch him yet.
Well, all right, when I print the heat sheet, if there's a problem, I'll give you a call.
Oh, there we go. If my phone starts going in the middle of the show, guys, you'll know why. But no, looking forward to that. I mean, always, it always cracked me up that, the club swim season, it seems like just ended like 5 minutes ago, and the high school season's off and running right away. But it is good to get going, get that meet in, like you said. I mean, I think there were right at about 100 swimmers and divers that are going to be there. So looks like it's kind of ticking back up, which is a good sign. We talked about that multiple times all the years with Michael and COVID really affecting mainly the pools in town. We lost a lot of years there, but it looks like it's kind of trending in the right direction again.
Yeah, it is. We're getting the numbers back up. Bay High's numbers are probably double what they've been. Our numbers aren't all the way back yet. Our girls were good. We got 17 girls. We're still only have about 10 or 11 guys, so we're still short on numbers there, but hey, it's building back up. I think Arnold's got their numbers are good. North Bay Haven's got some real good numbers. So, yeah, we're coming back.
Outstanding. Good to hear. Good to hear. Now, Steve, I mean, are you practicing this morning? Because usually I'd hear you kind of cover up the phone and be yelling, in between talking with me here on that. You got practice going this morning? Or did you give them off?
I let them out 5 minutes early.
Oh, God, you're getting soft in your old age. It's unbelievable.
We did strength training this morning. So
okay.
On the Thursday mornings when we have a meet, we are in the weight room, and Thursday mornings when we don't have a meet, we're in the pool. So, yeah.
That's why swimmers are tough, guys. Not only that we have to wear the Speedos out in public, but we're up practicing, at 6 a.m. pretty much every day of the week. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That just gave me a mental shot of you and your Speedo going off the diving board about 10 years ago doing your belly flop. I thought I'd repress that memory.
Well, do you know how many people just drove off the road imagining that visual? Outstanding. So diving at 4 and swimming at 5 tonight. Outstanding. Tommy's got a question for you, Steve.
Tommy St. Amant. How you doing this morning?
Doing great, Tommy.
Listen, I wanted to publicly thank you for all the work you've done with our swimmers over the years. You've done just an outstanding job. I know going down and winning a state championship in swimming is very difficult to do, and you've guided a lot of swimmers to that point. And I do want to thank you for all the years you put in. You've done just an outstanding job. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I enjoy doing it, and we got a lot of good swimmers across the board. I think, I coach everybody year round. I coach Mosley during the high school season, right. But I coach a lot of North Bay Haven and Bay High kids. And we got a good load of kids from Mosley, Arnold, and North Bay Haven that are going to, I think, go all the way to state this year. And maybe, I think, those Arnold boys, not Arnold boys, I mean the North Bay Haven boys, their medley relay looks like it could be a top 3 relay in the state this year. They're looking real good. I'm not sure what Arnold's got yet. I haven't seen them, but I know those North Bay Haven boys are going to be tough.
Yeah, that's outstanding. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. We've had some individual champions. We've had some relay champions, and Lord knows we've knocked on the door of that team championship several times. We've been just a couple points short, so I keep holding out the day that we're going to get to celebrate that one.
I tell you what, if anybody's going to do it, these Mosley girls I got right now for the next couple of years, they're going to definitely knock on the door. I don't know if they're going to get there, but they're definitely going to knock on the door. They're a tough group.
Outstanding. Well, how many public school championships we won? We'd be hanging a lot of banners because we lost to a lot of preps and academies and, and all that.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we did.
Oh, my goodness. Well, anyway, look, hey, before I let you go here, and again, everybody, 4 p.m. diving out at Frank Brown today and 5 p.m. swimming. Get out there and check it out. I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun watching these kids get out and race and the diving. I always laugh at, whatever I think is them close to hitting the board. The diving coaches look at me and they're just like, no, I wasn't even close, but it's exciting as heck to watch. So you'll get out there and check that out, and then, afterwards you can head over to Tommy Oliver and watch the Bay Arnold football game after, make it a good night of high school entertainment.
There you go.
All right.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, real quick, Steve, talk a little bit about your bike shop now. You got the old style bikes, you got the mechanical bikes, you got all kind of stuff going on over there at Steve's Bike Shop.
Yeah, we got it all. We got the e-bikes. We got any kind of bike you want, from a little kid to a person that's lost their balance and needs an adult tricycle. We got those. We got those regular pedal ones and electric adult trikes, and all kind of e-bikes, and we fix them all. We got it all.
I'll tell you what, there. Steve's Bike Shop right there on 23rd Street across from Sam's. Been in business since 1979, right, Steve?
That's right. I was negative 3 years old when I opened up.
Oh, boy. I love it. Well, good luck tonight with the swim meet, and definitely let me know if I messed something up in setting this meet up. And, just good luck with everything, and it's glad to see the season get off to a good start here.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. That is Coach Steve Burdishaw, the Mosley Dolphins, and again, the owner there of Steve's Bike Shop.
Speaking of swimming, on this day in history, Michael Phelps got his 8th Olympic win in the Athens Olympics in 2004.
Yeah, very cool.
So that's kind of swimming.
Yeah, he actually qualified for his first Olympics as a 15-year-old, which boys just don't do, in 2000 in Sydney, and then by the time Athens rolled around, he was the best swimmer in the world. And then what he went on to do in Beijing was unbelievable. Wow. So, yeah, he's quite the athlete. And, without going too deep into the politics of what's going on in the world of swimming right now, let's just say he and the powers that be are not seeing eye to eye. So it's kind of a interesting fight. But then again, they haven't had a CEO in 340 days. So, Organization? Yeah. What's organization? So that would be another talk for another time. But let's talk about some of our great, great sponsors here on the Coach James Hale Show. J. Michael's Restaurant yesterday was packed on Spaghetti Day, but every single day they have the best seafood, the coldest beer you're going to find anywhere down here in Panama City Beach. That is J. Michael's Restaurant. Get out and see those people today and tell them you heard about it right here on the Coach James Hale Show. Dr. Chad Mitchell. Doc Mitchell, tonight starts it, your 26th year on the sidelines, helping the athletes here of Bay County. But look, you don't have to be an athlete. If you've got something that just doesn't feel right, something that's hurting, issues with your joints, make sure that you call Dr. Chad Mitchell. They're orthopedic associates. They are the absolute best at what they do. They can do the robotic surgery, as Coach Hale says, the old way of surgery, as if that's something easy. But Doc Mitchell is the guy to see, and he did a great job sitting in on Monday for Coach Hale there. So Dr. Chad Mitchell. And then Big Bad John, we talked about it yesterday. You get in trouble with the wife because you want to watch some football. Maybe you fire off, leave me alone, let me watch.
What you got to do is go and get something very special from David Adamson Designer Jewelry, Highway 77 in Lynn Haven. Give it to her now before the football season starts.
I like the way you're thinking.
There you go. And they have everything. They have some things left over from an estate sale. They'll buy and they'll buy your silver and gold. It's at an all-time high right now. And take the stuff that she hasn't worn in around for a while, and take it in there and let them look at it, make sure all the stones are properly set, and they'll do a free cleaning. And she may even think it's a brand new piece of jewelry, so you might get off the hook really easy. But all their prices are great, and they've got a little something for everybody in every price range at David Adamson Designer Jewelry, Highway 77 in Lynn Haven.
When we come back, we're going to stay in Lynn Haven, and we're going to talk to Coach Tommy Joe Whidden of the Mosley Dolphins as they prepare to kick off their season against Rutherford. That's coming up next on the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Keep the game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Live play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. From Michigan Avenue to the man cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For this afternoon and evening, a chance of thunderstorms and mostly sunny, and a high of 88 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the southwest. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a very light wind and quite warm near 80. Mostly sunny in the morning, but otherwise likely thunderstorms, and 87 tomorrow. 86 and moderate rain and definite thunderstorms Saturday. This is your Thursday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads, using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Stay out of his lane and stay off his yard.
Believe me, this man is a menace. He's always drinking, starting fights.
The Coach James Hale Show live from the J. Michaels Studios.
Don't turn it off!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You know, there is no better music to play when we are about to talk to one of our great high school football coaches in this area in opening week action. And we have one of the best around here in Tommy Joe Whidden, coach of the Mosley Dolphins. Coach, how are we doing this morning?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So, Coach, you know, coming off an excellent season last year, you know, they very rarely end the way you want, but had a wonderful, wonderful season. And, you know, this long build-up through spring practice and summer camp and everything. And you're all excited to get going in the Kickoff Classic last week. And unfortunately, Mother Nature stepped in there. So talk a little bit about, you know, kind of your expectations going into a Kickoff Classic and how that kind of affected you guys, you know, not being able to get that in. Was it a positive, a negative? You know, how does that play forward?
Yeah, well, obviously all the kids are excited to play. It's, you know, we put in a lot of preparation and practicing for 3 weeks and, you know, like to get out there and see what guys can do in some different situations. And not getting to do that was definitely disappointing, but it was out of our control. So just have to refocus and you know, get ready for the opening week versus Rutherford. And I think the guys have had a good week of practice. I think they're definitely to the point where they're ready to play somebody else. You know, kind of tired of going against each other for a month. And I think our guys are excited to play and looking forward to playing on Friday night.
Absolutely, Coach, and interesting schedule in that we get Rutherford and Bay to open the season here, and we'll get into certainly the Rutherford game in just a moment. But I kind of wanted to talk to you about it's the nature of the beast with high school coaching that you're constantly replacing great players, and we lost LoJack and Sammy Freitas, but it's rare that a high school coach has to replace a 3-year starter at quarterback. Maybe talk about that, kind of replacing some of those key players and specifically at quarterback as you go in to start a new season.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely unique to have a 3-year starter at quarterback. It's the first time in my coaching career that I've had a guy for that long, and obviously Sammy was a great player and won a bunch of football games, and transitioning now to a new quarterback, JP Holzenbach has been in our program for 2 years now and has had a lot of success on our 2 lower level teams, and I'm just very excited for JP and his opportunity. I can't stress enough, he's a smart kid. He's a hard worker. I mean, again, voted captain by his teammates in the off season without even playing a football game. I think that speaks a lot to him and his work ethic and how much the guys see that he puts into trying to be a great quarterback. And like I said, he's a competitor. I know he's chomping at the bit and he's excited to play. And like I said, we have all the confidence in him that he's going to be able to lead our football team. On the defensive side of the ball. LaCavion Jackson is definitely a generational type talent, made a lot of plays for us in a lot of different ways. And, because of that, we're going to have to move some guys around. Will Arboleta is a guy that we're really counting on to replace LoJack. He played the boundary outside linebacker for us and had 10 sacks for us. I mean, he's a highly productive player. We're moving him out there to the field, letting him play in space. And Willie has done a great job, in what we've asked him to do. And playing out there in space. And, obviously we're still going to let him come off the edge and get after the quarterback. But, both of those guys, definitely have big shoes to fill. But I have all the confidence in those guys. And, again, Will also, he's voted captain by his teammates as well. So I think that just speaks to the confidence not only that we have in those guys, but their teammates as well.
Hey, Coach Jeremy, good morning. Wondering what you might have learned, about your opponents tomorrow night. Tell us a little bit about how you're looking at the Rutherford ball team.
Yeah, no, I mean, Rutherford's definitely got some talented players. I mean, I think it definitely starts with their quarterback position in Jaleel. I mean, he's proven that he can make plays in a lot of different ways. It's definitely gonna be key for us to keep him hemmed up, keep him in the pocket, not let him make plays with his legs. He does a good job of keeping plays alive and trying to find things downfield. So we got to scramble drill situations, make sure that we stay locked in on our guys, and then offensively we got to do a great job of controlling the line of scrimmage. Rutherford definitely looks like they play a lot of guys both ways, so I think we got some opportunities to lean on them and wear them down, and we definitely got to be able to do that. And, our guys up front got a chance to play hard and get after them, and we got to do that on Friday night.
Coach Witt and Tommy Santamont, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Listen, I know you've all gone through all these practices. How is your injury situation going? Are you pretty satisfied with how that's happened or not happened?
No, yeah. I mean, if you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd have said it's going great. But yeah, just going in camp, trying to create a hard edge, getting after it, playing physical. We lost two offensive linemen.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of going right into the start of the season. We lost a kid, a sophomore that had worked, D. Jordan, a kid that had worked really hard to work his way into the starting lineup, and he's going to be a really good player. Fractured his ankle, so he's going to be out. Hopefully we can get him back before the end of the season. And then we lost Cameron Turner. He's another sophomore that has been working really hard and was working in our rotation. And realistically, Cam's probably out for the season, so definitely hurt. Definitely, mess with our depth a little bit on the offensive line. Yeah. But but outside of those two guys, I think we're relatively healthy and ready to go.
Coach, looking at your schedule, it lines up kind of interestingly. You start with 2 home games here, and then you finish with 2 home games, and then kind of in the middle, there's a whole lot of traveling going on, going east on 10, west on 10. You got Rickards and Navarre and Escambia and Niceville, and then, coming across the bridge to Arnold. It's kind of a tough little schedule you guys got for you this year. How do you like... I know we've talked in the past about you kind of like having those tough games because that'll kind of build the mettle that you like going into the playoffs. Is that kind of the way you're looking at this year's schedule? It provides you that opportunity to really steel yourself as you hope to make a playoff run?
Yeah, again, truth be told, it's not like you look at it, it's definitely a unique schedule. We don't set out to make it that way. It's just, it's definitely just kind of one of the downsides of having to share a stadium. I think kind of Bay was in the same boat last year where I think they kind of had a string of games on the road, and now it's flipped. And we had a lot of home games last year, and now it's flipped. Now they got a bunch of home games, and, we got a run of things on the road. That's just, it is what it is. And kind of the negatives of having to share a stadium is, you don't get to construct the schedule exactly the way that you want it to be. But, obviously it creates some moments of, some potential adversity, having to go on the road, having to, be out of our comfort zone a little bit, especially I think there's like a month stretch, 3 games in a row where we're on the road. And like I said, definitely not ideal. Definitely, truth be told, not what you want to do, but it is the reality of the situation, and we just got to be mentally prepared for that. And obviously, it'll be a challenge for our team. We can get through that. Hopefully, give us a lot of confidence moving forward. And we just got to make do with the situation.
I'll navigate this one as carefully as I can. One of the talking points at the end of last year, not just with Mosley, but with some other schools, was the way in which the FHSAA kind of seeded the playoffs, and certainly some consternation up in this area, but it seems like if you're not in Miami, they don't really care. Was there any discussion at the FHSAA level this year about anything having to do with playoff seeding or any changes to the format itself?
My understanding that there has been some tweaks to the formula. Again, I couldn't tell you exactly what those tweaks are, because they don't tell us the formula.
Of course not.
A secret.
No, they definitely don't. They say it's going to lead to, I think there were some teams on the fringe last year that played really tough schedules, and they didn't get rewarded for playing tough schedules and got left out of the playoffs. And so I think there's going to be some modifications, to my understanding, that reward teams that play a little bit tougher schedule. But we'll find out. But hey, it's the nature of the beast of playing in Florida. Like it or don't like it, or whatever the case may be. It's the hand that we're dealt. We know the rules going into the season, and we got to make sure that we put ourselves in a situation to be successful at the end. Last year, we definitely controlled our own destiny. We were the 1 seed going into the last week of the season. We knew what we had to do, and we didn't get the job done. So at the end of the day, like the rules or not, that's on us as a football team. And so those are things that we've got to do a better job of this year, is finishing out the season. I think it left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Obviously us as a program and people on the outside looking in had high expectations for that football team, and that's kind of where we are as a program. We've got to do a better job of finishing and just making the playoffs, and having a lot of success in the regular season. Honestly, in my opinion, for us is not good enough. And but again, that's speaks a lot to where we've put our program, the position that we've put ourselves in. I feel like there's real expectations for Mosley football, which is a good expectations are a privilege, and we're looking forward to the season.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, good luck getting the season kicked off tomorrow night there at Tommy Oliver against the Rutherford Rams, and we look forward to talking to you for the rest of the season. Good luck, Coach.
Good luck.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, that's the great Tommy Joe Whidden there, coach of the Mosley Dolphins. And again, folks, You want to talk about the best entertainment you can get, and for less than $10, get out and watch some of these high school football games. I've said it before, I didn't grow up in this area, but I love going out and watching these high school games and supporting the athletes and the booster clubs and everything around here, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. So you've got, Bay Arnold tonight out at Tommy Oliver, and then you just head back out Friday night, and you get to go see Mosley and Rutherford play as well. So get out and support these local high school, not just football, but volleyball and swim and dive and golf and everything else. So get out there and check those out for sure. And I'll tell you where else you need to get out and check out, Dat Cajun Place. Now that we're in football season, when games are on, we're going to have 50-cent wings at Dat Cajun Place, and these are the best wings. Trust me, you can look at my belly. I've had wings everywhere in this town. And these are that's right, these are the best wings. I actually went out there yesterday and had some of their jambalaya. So even if you don't get the wings, boy, you're going to get great food, great Cajun food at Dat Cajun Place.
And what about free Jell-O shots?
Oh, good gracious.
For your LSU jersey or your New Orleans Saints jersey, every touchdown, Jell-O shots for everybody.
You're talking to an Alabama fan growing up, a Mississippi State graduate. I can't wear anything LSU. I might need Jell-O shots to wear something LSU. But anyway, TK Vandy Roofing and Contracting. Boy, did we have a good time when Kyle and Justin called in yesterday and basically took over the show.
They were in rare form.
Well, we had a good time, and let me tell you something. They do an absolutely wonderful, wonderful job. If you got any kind of issues with your roof or anything like that, call Kyle and the crew out there at TK Vandy Roofing and Contracting. And I believe Kyle hopefully he'll be in here tomorrow with us. He's usually here on Fridays as well. So make sure and check them out. And then, of course, Dr. John Ward, dermatology specialist. 1 in 5 will develop skin cancer in their lifetime. Don't add to that statistic. Make sure that you check out your skin regularly. If something doesn't look right, make sure and call one of Dr. John Ward's 8 area locations. If you're listening to us right now, there is a location nearby to you. That is dermatology specialist and Dr. John Ward. When we get back, we're going to talk about some changes to the CFP and maybe some wild predictions as it relates to the SEC. That's coming up next on the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
You've read the headlines. You've seen the highlights. But how about the unfiltered truth?
Steroid era, you can like it, love it, hate it, whatever. It's safe baseball.
Since 2017, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has been the undisputed leader for sports coverage on the Panhandle. If it matters in sports, it matters to us, and it matters to you. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
No one wants to deal with a plumbing, electrical, or HVAC emergency. It's even worse when you're not sure what it'll cost, when it'll get fixed, or if someone's just selling you something. When you call Hiller, you can trust our experts to actually solve your home's problems quickly. And with true transparency pricing, you know the price you're told is the price you'll actually pay. Book online now at happyhiller.com. Happy you'll be, or the service is free.
I'm a happy-faced truck today.
Great design is timeless, and that's why Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin & Bullion Reserves offers a stunning selection of vintage, antique, estate jewelry on sale now at 40% off. Exquisite Victorian rings, Art Deco diamond brooches, Georgian and Art Deco bracelets, earrings, and pendants. These one-of-a-kind pieces add personality to any ensemble, and now at 40% off. Find your timeless treasure at Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin & Bullion Reserves.
If you got more A's on your truck than you did in high school, you might be a Bama fan. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to the Coach James Hale Show. Brian Haddad sitting in this morning for Coach, joined by Jeremy Bridge and Tommy Santamont and the Wild Cat. So, we had some news. Of course, one of the things that Coach Hale, talks about pretty much every day is that strength of schedule should matter more in relation to the college football playoff. And, we were laughing yesterday in the notion that Auburn has suddenly found 7 new national championships, which I'm sure we'll talk more about later. The fact that we're in a college football playoff where we basically determine the champion on the field now, but there's always complaints and concerns and everything else as it relates to who gets in the playoff. But the College Football Playoff Committee has announced a few kind of modifications, or I think as they put it, they will now use enhanced metrics as it relates to determining their selections. So they
potential ticket sales.
Yeah, really. Exactly. So they will announce the first of their 6 rankings on November the 4th. And as they say, using enhanced metrics to help evaluate schedule strength and how teams perform against their slate. In the current strength schedule metric, more weight will now be applied to games against strong opponents. A new added metric of, quote, record strength, I don't know why that's new, it seems as old as football, will help the committee determine how teams performed against their schedule, rewarding those that beat high-quality opponents while minimizing the penalty of losing to one. These changes will also provide minimal reward for beating lower-quality opponent while imposing a greater penalty for losing to one. Now, here's the key line, guys, and I want to get y'all's thoughts on this. Historically, the selection committee typically has evaluated in this manner. There's a lot of qualifiers in that sentence. But adding it to a computerized metric should help codify the process publicly. To me, that line says exactly what this is all about. They're still going to do things the way that they do them. They just now can blame a computer for it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why they just don't let artificial intelligence do it all.
Let artificial intelligence play the game.
Yeah, they can do all that stuff now.
Well, a lot of people would argue that committee uses artificial intelligence.
Here's where I would come down on this.
Yeah.
Why box yourself into a corner with a totally meaningless, incomplete poll?
Yeah.
That creates this dynamic that we've seen over the years where these unprecedented happenings occur because you screwed up by putting out too much information too early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let everybody else have their poll. We can have our poll. But for the committee, until that last game is played, we should not hear a word.
Agree, because we all know, based on what we've seen over the past years, exactly what you said. They box themselves into a corner because once you, how can a 3 drop down to a 5 or whatever we dealt with Florida State and then with last year? So you're right, it does. Whether it should or it shouldn't, there is a visceral reaction to seeing a ranking and how teams move based on that.
Like we all watch the Sistine Chapel, we should wait for white smoke that the brackets have been set.
Well, they got 7 of those rankings. They do it 7 times.
That's right.
And like Jeremy said, I think they do it just to.
They fill in time during the week with
just to make some news.
Yep. And look, I mean, to be fair, we talk about this all the time, and there are a lot of people that, we're never going to get a true feeling because not everybody plays everybody, right? But a lot of people argue that one of the greatest things about college football is that it's a constant argument. It's what it is. But to me, this seems like such a cop-out in that they're addressing the schedule strength thing, but they're hiding behind a computer. Mm-hmm. That was the thing that I really picked up from it. And typically what this committee has done in the few years of its existence, if you notice, they will swing wildly from one side to the other. So, like, okay, the complaint is this. Now, we're going to go way too far on this end of things. And next year, the complaint will be X, and we're going to swing way too far on the other end of things. You know, it used to be you had to win your conference championship or be in the game, and then it was no, that shouldn't matter.
And the irony is how accurate the BCS has continued to be since it was abandoned.
Yes, which is hilarious. You know,
think about this: what if the committee in today's football had to choose the two players going to play for the national championship? There would be people shot. Probably the committee would be shot. I mean, it'd be a chaos.
Oh, absolutely would be. I mean, it was always difficult. But last year Ohio State was an 8. Who won the national championship. I know when they won it in 14, they were a 4. Alabama has won it as a 4. In fact, I think the only seed that hadn't won was a 3 at one point.
But you almost want to put an 8 asterisk because of how the seeding worked with automatic champions gobbling up the top ones.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. And they would have been certainly top 5.
Right, yeah.
You know, when I look at this new method they're trying with strength of schedule, is that going to play into the hands of the SEC to go to 9 games, conference games, instead of 8, like the Big Ten? And because you'll be rewarded by beating high quality. But if you play a lower quality.
But again, this sounds fine in theory. Will it actually be implemented, though?
So if I was sitting here as an athletic director in the Southeastern Conference, I would not go to 9 games. Mm-hmm. But I would reevaluate my scheduling like Alabama has done, not necessarily picking up, Wisconsin, Florida State this year, Big Ten and ACC. I would look for those future potential opponents. It's getting really hard because you build for a season and not a program anymore.
Yeah, right.
And the transfer portal. But let's take Alabama possibly, going to Bloomington or having Indiana, you're not looking necessarily at the non-Power 5s.
That's right.
But you're looking within the 4s that get you the 4. And who has done a better job than this? Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's in his contract to get that $500,000 or whatever it is every time he wins a game against one of the Power 4s. Well, who has he loaded up on? Wake Forest was the most recent victim.
Yep.
It's an ACC win.
Georgia Tech, he did a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So I think he's been ahead of the curve of trying to pick out that middle tier, bottom tier of the Power 4.
Absolutely.
To get away from, you're playing Mercer this weekend.
Yeah.
And how would this new metric they're doing now, how would it affect last year? I'd like to see, would Alabama would have been in it?
If you run the hypotheticals, I think
it's hard to say. I mean, based on the metrics with the automatic teams going in, honestly, I kind of think they got it right last year. Do I think the 12 best football teams in the country played in the playoff? No, I don't think anybody thinks that. But I will say this: wins and losses do have to matter.
Well, here's what's going to be interesting, and I'm only recalling one example of this. If we move to that sort of model, Vanderbilt had a bye game at Michigan. Mm-hmm. Are you going to start seeing bye games among the Power 4 where those who have, are able to come in and let's just say it's Alabama looking around going, hey, Purdue, come to Tuscaloosa. We'll give you 2.5.
Yeah.
Right.
And he may be squeezing the South Floridas, the FIUs, the Southerns, out of the market.
That's right.
In this, so it's a fascinating thing to watch.
It absolutely is. I mean, I'm more interested to see if they're going to, like we said, where they swing wildly from one direction to the other. Will strength of schedule be so heavily weighted this year that we actually start seeing maybe a 3-loss team take the spot of a very small conference 1-loss team that maybe was runner-up in their conference. And look, that would make several people in this area happy because chances are to be an SEC taking the place of, let's say your Big 12 runner-up or a Conference USA somebody. But, I don't know. It'd be interesting, again, like I said, for me to see if we actually swing that way. But I did find it interesting that they're going to, at least early on, they're trying to get out front of this and address it, because I do think they were caught on their heels last year and they were being reactive instead of proactive.
You know, and what in the discussions, as they so call it, with the committee, how are they going? I'm not going to say. I'm going to go with what the metrics say. That's what I'm. But you know, they have something called partial reclusion. That's what it's in this thing here, where if I'm associated with the university, I'm getting paid or something, I can stay in for the discussions, but I can't vote. I have to leave. But I can stay in and I can go through discussions. And how much is that going to affect?
Voice, no vote.
Yeah, that's in there now. They identified partial reclusion.
Well, I need to go back.
Make your closing argument.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I need to go back and see who's making up the committee, because in the past we've had secretaries of state and adjunct journalism professors and a whole lot of Big Ten offensive linemen somehow got on there last year, I think. But
you know, partial. If you're a partial reclusion, you could just tell somebody they're sorry. You don't have to vote. You can say, I didn't vote for him, or I did vote for him, or whatever.
Yeah, like Condoleezza Rice.
You might have affected the outcome.
No doubt. Well, it'll be interesting to watch, that's for sure. Well, let's talk about some more of our great sponsors here. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful lunch specials, great drink specials. Again, you know, sometimes Glenn Manley will get around there and dance around and sing for us. But you want to get out to El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, the best Mexican restaurant on Panama City Beach. TVs everywhere. You will have a great, great time. Turf Pro Pest Control. Patrick and the crew are the best at what they do. They will have your yard being the talk of the neighborhood for all the right reasons. That is Turf Pro Pest Control, and Patrick did a wonderful job sitting in with us on Tuesday. And then Max Fit Sports Nutrition. You want to look better. You want to feel better. You want to get bigger, stronger, faster. You need to talk to Jason Kovaleski at Max Fit Sports Nutrition. He's got 2 great area locations for you. One in Pier Park North next to Dick's Sporting Goods. The other on 23rd Street at the Del Coronado Village. Make sure and get out and see Jason Kovaleski, where you can try it before you buy it. What you got in there, Wildcat?
Well, I want to remind everybody to set it on 104.3 and then just rip the knob off, because you want to keep it right here. ESPN, right here in Panama City, we're going to be giving away a pair of tickets to the every home Jacksonville Jaguars game. We're going to be giving away a pair of tickets to each and every one of those games at Everbank Stadium. So we'll have details on how you can get registered or how you instantly win. We don't know. I don't know anyway how we're going to do that quite yet. But I know we're going to be giving away a lot of tickets. So keep it right here.
Details TBA.
Yeah.
Well, coming up next, we're going to head over to Tallytown and talk a little Florida State football. And Tommy's going to tell us why the Seminoles are going to bury Alabama in Week 1. That's coming up next. The Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd.
You know, there's entertainers and there's competitors.
That was not a shot at Shedeur Sanders. Shame on everybody that said it was. Do not. You're hurting Shedeur. You're turning a non-circus into a circus. When he said that, he was taking a shot at us. He was taking a shot at guys like me.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Weekdays at 1.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For this afternoon and evening, a chance of thunderstorms and mostly sunny, and a high of 88 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the southwest. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a very light wind and quite warm near 80. Mostly sunny in the morning, but otherwise likely thunderstorms, and 87 tomorrow. 86 and moderate rain and definite thunderstorms Saturday. This is your Thursday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
With
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The tradition continues.
Lots of force on this one. Hello, Chop House. A 2-run homer.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michael Studio.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Florida State, Florida State, Florida State. Woo! FSU update brought to you by Newbies and the 4 fine Newbies locations. The mothership, Newbies 2 on the curve, the Booze and Brew, and then the new one there out in St. Andrews where Glenn stumbles home every single night. Get out there and support Newbies. Have a wonderful, wonderful time. Make sure you say hi to John and Charlotte there for all that they do in this area and their support of the FSU update. Tommy, take it away.
Well, I got a hodgepodge, a little bit of everything. Starting with soccer. FSU is, the girls are 2-0 right now. They beat Florida 5-0 and beat Florida International 2-0. They got a game Thursday, August 28th, all the way out in Kansas. They play at 8 o'clock, and they're doing good. I think they're ranked number 3 in the nation right now, something like that. But they're doing well. A couple of things, if you want to go try out for the baseball team, September the 5th is going to be tryouts for the baseball team. You got to be an actual student at FSU. You can't be a professional baseball player that graduated 20 years ago. But
interesting.
You can. They actually going to have a tryout. And I saw where Greg McElroy, who everybody knows, he's a great commentator. he said that FSU has the toughest schedule in the ACC, which after looking at it, I kind of agree with him, having to play those 4 teams they got to play.
Was he on the Danny Cannell show?
Well, yeah, I was going to say.
I heard Danny last night.
I guarantee you he's not getting invited to the Saban house anytime soon.
Danny Cannell was as humble as I've ever, if you ever call that last night.
Really?
That's talking about the Alabama game. He was very, very humble. He didn't go out with some of these wild things he normally does. But a couple things about a couple players on FS2. Jalen Lucas is a kid, a transfer from Indiana. Mm-hmm. He is on the, and this is so funny, he's on the list of the Comeback Player of the Year in college football. You know, they have a preseason game, the top eater in preseason. They got, they got all these things. But Jalen, I didn't realize how well he did at Indiana when he was out there, because he's a great kickoff returner. And he was the freshman first team All-American kick returner when he's out in Indiana, and had quite a few 2 kickoff returns for touchdown, which he led the nation in Indiana. But he got hurt in the game against Boston College, so he missed a whole entire season. So he's back and doing real well. And the other kid, the quarterback, Tommy Castellanos, he's on the United's watch list and the Maxwell Award watch list. And I didn't realize he's from Waycross, Georgia, where he went through high school. And he's the only Boston College football player who passed the 2,000 yards and rushed for 1,000 yards in one season. So he will be quarterbacking for the first game, and hopefully more games after that one.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you bring up he's on the list and all that. We were talking about the list for everything. You want proof we live in a world of PR professionals and press releases. They go out there and they say so-and-so is on the short list for this award along with 62 other individuals. Mm-hmm. Why don't we just say it like it is? Everybody's got a chance at the award.
I know it. It's crazy, but it's good, for a kid. He said, well,
sure.
I'm on the United watch list. And United, so anyway.
Better than the watch lists I'm on. Yeah. That's for sure.
The game will be August the 30th, and we'll probably talk more about that next week about the actual what's going to happen and what's looks like is going to probably happen, but I think a lot of people kind of know. But one of the things that Alabama, we all know that Jam Miller's out. The running back is their number 1 running back is out, and that's going to be I don't know if it's going to be a loss to Alabama or not.
I think it may be a little bit of a bigger one than people are giving it credit for, because he's the true experienced guy back there.
Right,
and you want to have that week one, because that's where, your new talented people have talent, but the experience, it's hard to put a price on that, especially early.
And the big deal going on now over in Tallahassee is everybody's heard they're replacing the field they got. And if you look you can go on Doak Campbell and look at the camera, and it shows they probably got less than a third left on the field, and they'll have it completely ready to go. But they could play on it in the morning.
Okay.
That's how it's that lay and play. It's a real thick hybrid grass that goes down, and a lot of I think it's going to cost about $350,000 to do it. So. I don't know why they're doing it.
I hope we send our cleat truck, unlike we.
I think there's a reason behind this, Jeremy.
I really hope we learn that lesson.
When you get along the 20-yard line, if you're Alabama, you're going to probably trip over on the turf trying to go in for a touchdown. But anyway, that started this past Monday, and they'll be finished with it today, I'm sure, from what I've seen right now. Alabama's about a 13.5-point favorite right now. And it's probably going to go up. If you look at percentages, Alabama's only a 90.6% favorite to win the game. FSU got 9.4, Jeremy. They got
there you go.
0.4% chance of winning, so you never know.
You're telling me there's a chance.
And one of the interesting things, how do y'all think when you look at point spreads and looking at this game, who has the advantage? Does it make FSU more fired up because they're an underdog big time, or does Alabama say, well, we're going to beat them anyway? How do you think that's going to affect the game? Jeremy, you're a big Alabama fan.
I think Alabama's psyche is still going to be pretty fragile. I know the fan base is. You're on the road, a hostile environment. This is one of those games that FSU's had circled a long time. The Gators come into town every other year. That's an arch rival. But this is one of these marquee, hey, we got Alabama at our house.
See, I'd be more worried if I were Alabama if two things. Number one, they were coming off a better year, like, semifinal playoff run, and like Jalen Milroe was back. Then I think they could get a little complacent. Number one, DeBoer and that staff want to show out, because they do not want to hear the stuff that they were hearing all through the offseason coming out of the Michigan game. And Ty Simpson, this is his chance.
Yeah.
Because, as many people as think, he's definitely going to be the starter, there's a lot of talk about Keelan Russell. And so he wants to cement himself, much in the way Mac Jones did in 2020 when Bryce Young was waiting in the wings. So I think Alabama, normally I'd worry more about the favorite getting complacent. I think Jeremy's right. I think Alabama's raring to go.
You look at Alabama's offensive line, they're massive. I'm sure they're the best offensive line in the nation. I would think, looking at who's on the line, but that's going to be a big help for Simpson, knowing he's going to have some protection back there, because that 3-3-5 defense that Tony White is put in there, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of coming from all kinds of directions, all kinds of blitzes they can do with that thing. But
that's another reason why I hate the Jam Miller injury. Because I think that could kind of freeze some of the movement they could do in that defense by having a guy like Miller. But
when you look at the star rating, Alabama's got a 4.2 overall, all the players, 4.2. FSU's 3.5. So there's a big, talent-wise, there's no comparison, I think.
Sure.
FSU's got some good players, but they don't have the depth and the 5 and 4 stars that Alabama has. And if Alabama plays like they can run the ball like I know they can, then I think Alabama's going to probably win. They should win, so I'll put it that way. What about you, Jeremy?
They should.
Yeah.
We also sat here several weeks last year saying they should have, and I think that's the thing we grew very accustomed to in the Saban era was it wins you expected to get, you got. You did not come away from those inexplicable moments, save one where I remember getting in my truck after some deer hunting and Leon Gold's going, and that'll do it. Louisiana Monroe is just beating.
Oh, yeah.
That was unusual.
But, oh, boy. I was like, did I just hear that correctly? Yeah. But, so handling the games that you expected to handle was just commonplace, and this past year it was not.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Well, every coach in the world will tell you there's no such thing as moral victories and all. But the interesting part about this game, Alabama doesn't just need to win. They need to win convincingly, I think, to settle kind of the fan base. And Florida State, I think, could get some positives out of hanging tough with Alabama. I don't think they have to win, but they can't get blown out. Certainly not like have it be 31-3 at the half.
And normally looking at the 3:30 start over there in Tallahassee, we know the heat and the humidity and all that's going to play effect. But I think that plays into Alabama's hand because they got the depth.
Sure.
But they both practice in that type of environment. So I think the worst thing is going to be for the fans sitting up there in that heat watching the game.
Not a lot of shade.
I have sweated many pounds off in Tallahassee, but Tuscaloosa is not the frigid Arctic north as it comes to things, but it'll be an interesting game for sure. Want to thank Newbies again for their sponsorship of the Florida State update there, and want to talk about Taco Bell. Make sure you get out and support the fine folks here at Taco Bell because they support our Port St. Joe Tiger Sharks. We're going to have Coach Jones in with us on Friday, but get out to your local Taco Bell here. Great food, great support of all of our local sports here. Taco Bell, and thank them for sponsoring us here on the Coach James Hale Show. When we get back, Jeremy's going to tell us the other end of things. He's going to tell us why Alabama's going to win by 50 on the Alabama Update, everybody's favorite segment. You're listening to the Coach James Hale Show on ESPN Northwest.
Is there anything to drink?
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
The men on one sportsmanlike, the likability aspect of it. It's kind of like the Cleveland Browns quarterback battle. Nuno is like the Joe Flacco of the group. Pat Costello and Javante are like Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, so they're kind of fighting it out. And then I would say, Evan Cohen and the Cams are like Kenny Pickett.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle. Weekdays 5 to 7 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For this afternoon and evening, a chance of thunderstorms and mostly sunny, and a high of 88 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the southwest. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a very light wind and quite warm near 80. Mostly sunny in the morning, but otherwise likely thunderstorms, and 87 tomorrow. 86 and moderate rain and definite thunderstorms Saturday. This is your Thursday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party. No, you see, you get $150 in bonus bets after your first $5 bet hits.
Did somebody say hit?
Whoa, Ray Lewis? We were just saying if your bet hits.
Huh? You know I love a good form tackle.
We know, Ray. We know. Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook. Roll with us. New players bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Payable in bonus bets, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 and up and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling, please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida.
When it comes to backyard dreams, trust the name that's been making waves for over 65 years. Cox Pools. Serving the entire Florida Panhandle, Cox Pools brings experience, innovation, and quality to every custom pool design. From luxurious spas to resort-style pools, no vision is too big. Make your backyard the place to be with Cox Pools. Cox Pools, 65 years strong and still making a splash. Visit coxpools.com or call 850-235-7957.
He's a 10-foot-tall, barrel-chested beast man who showers in vodka and feeds his baby shrimp scampi.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Please welcome.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Live and local from the J. Michael Studio, the Coach James Hale Show, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Look at Tommy hoping he'll give me a roll tide roll here.
I do. They're my second best team.
Oh, there we go. I like it.
Alabama, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Alabama.
That's right.
Born and raised in Alabama.
Like all of us fine folks
Alabama.
here. Bay Minette, real close to me in Mobile. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely right. The Alabama Update brought to you every single day here on the Coach James Hale Show by Steverson Air Conditioning. Whew. They say the summer's winding down. I'm not so sure walking outside, but if you've got any kind of issues with the air conditioning or heating unit, make sure you call Jason and the fine folks here at Steverson Air Conditioning. They're not like one of these national companies you call them, say, my AC's out in Florida. All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks. You know, by that time, you've lost 40 pounds.
In the corner.
Yeah, exactly. But no, Steverson Air Conditioning, they will get out there quickly. And the best thing about them, they're not going to upsell you. They're going to tell you exactly what you need, if it's just to service the unit or if it is to get a new unit, and they'll just save you money at every turn. Steverson Air Conditioning, #1. Jeremy, it's football time. Let's head over to the capstone and see what we got going on.
It is. And, of course, you know, in the previous segment, we were talking a little Alabama, Florida State, and then we'll get kind of the flip side here. Tommy mentioned, you know, being from Bay Minette, second favorite team. I think part of the intrigue here is this is a rather unusual matchup. These two don't play often. And first trip to Tallahassee for Alabama ever. And so, you know, we've probably wanted this game in previous years.
Sure.
You know, there are a number of times where we'd love to have seen them play, and it just hasn't happened, and it still hasn't happened in the postseason at all. But you know, the home and home here, I think, is good for the sport, good for these two fan bases that have kind of picked at each other over year and sort of been passerbys, occasional matchups here. If you want to go to the game, it's getting a little more affordable.
Okay.
The ticket prices are trending down. I told Tommy I saw $272 yesterday. I actually checked it just a few moments ago. You can get in for $242 now. So a lot of tickets floating around. I do wonder if that's tied to the kind of the Labor Day weekend. A lot of folks who might typically go vacate, and so I've seen this before with, you know, kind of Labor Day can be hit or miss with people deciding, hey, do I want to go, you know, to the football game, or do I want to go and get that last weekend in and watch these games? And then, of course, Coach Hale's been in our ear the whole time. You're going to go to the game and you're going to miss seeing Ohio State, Texas. You're going to miss seeing LSU, Clemson. I don't know that you necessarily miss them. You're just not at your house watching them. But
well, it's not like the old days. I mean, you can sit there and watch them on your phone in the stands, too.
I can't tell you the number of tailgates I've crashed, too. Just pull up. I got to watch your rep.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you are interested in heading over to Tallahassee, it looks like it's getting a little more affordable day by day. Now, is there anything to read into that? Is Alabama not traveling well? I think Alabama's traveling well. Is Florida State unloading the tickets? It looks like it. This would be one of the higher resale tickets that you could have if you're a Florida State, you know, season ticket holder.
Sure.
And so if you're looking at, you know, that side of it, they may be trying to recoup a little bit, given, you know, all the new amenities that have come into Doak Campbell Stadium. So, so there's that side too. But just one of those sort of curious things to watch. I think it'll continue to trend down, actually, heading toward game time there. Between segments, we were talking about potential replacements, and it's interesting you mentioned that. I had this down to share, and you were talking about Orgeron to Arkansas and you know, the Gruden to Auburn. You didn't put DeBoer in there, but Stephen Smith.
Oh my goodness! Oh, we talked about this yesterday.
He sure did.
Where was he gonna put him?
Well, he's got DeBoer out and Dion in.
Oh, you got to be kidding me!
I do that with. Well, it's the FSU segment too. Yeah, so I had to throw that out there. Wasn't sure Tommy had heard that one.
You know, we tried to take the political tact yesterday of, okay, well, let's look at this seriously. And, you know, he does look. He brings certainly a brand and exposure, and he can recruit both high school and the transfer portal, but he seems to forget that offensive and defensive line play is important. And to be honest, his issues are the same ones that people claim are the issues with DeBoer, like we talked about in the last segment, was taking care of the teams that you should beat. That was the issue last year.
That's why.
He got up for Georgia, got up for Auburn, got up for the big games, looked past Oklahoma, looked past Vanderbilt, because he could do that at Washington.
That's right.
You can't do that in the SEC. And quite frankly, Dion does that too.
He does it.
I mean,
well.
their collapse against Stanford was probably one of the worst losses of the year last year.
Epic,
so.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, let's just put me down in the not a fan of that category.
Not a fan of that. No. Fair enough. So, I don't think that one would happen.
No.
And yet at the same time, I do wonder who's on that short list, because if you're Greg Byrne, even if you never say it publicly, you've got to keep looking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you always have to plan and prepare.
Never stop making hires. That's just part of it. As far as the game itself, a couple of things here that have developed. Obviously, the Jam Miller injury at running back is a big hit for Alabama. It will change the scheming somewhat, I suspect. It may loose the FSU defense to be a little more aggressive on RPO matters and things of that nature. So it's fluid all the way up till you put it on the tee and kick it off. But that was not good news out of Tuscaloosa. And as you mentioned, Justice no longer being in the program helped sort of thin anyway, and now it's
certainly an experience. I mean, they love these. I mean, you always hear they love the new guys, and they're talented. And they got a couple of freshmen in that running back room, and I think one sophomore. But you're talking about the entire running back room behind Jam Miller. I think accounted for 200 yards last season. Mm-hmm. A little scary to me.
Right. So, and we love the new guys like we like the backup quarterbacks, what they think they can do.
Most popular people on campus till they take the field.
Till they get out there. On the other side of the ball, they mentioned Alabama trying to prepare for a very transfer-heavy Florida State team. Mm-hmm. Even watching game film has changed now, because you have to break down individual film to pick up tendencies of players, because you can't just pop the tape from last year and see what they schemed.
Oh my gosh.
Now the complexity of seeing who you have and then trying to piece together. Now we might have enough future AI technology where they could just take all those folks and put them on a team and play a simulated game.
But that's such a good point, because not just the fact, it'd be one thing if you were just dealing with 35 new players, but in the same system. But this is going to be a completely different, certainly offensively, but defensive as well.
Or transfer kids, 8 starters.
And totally different systems. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you haven't seen anything on film that's going to tell you, other than maybe going back and watching Auburn tape from when Gus was there.
Right.
It's crazy.
To get an idea of any tendencies or what have you. Yeah. And I do wonder about the future of AI on these matters. I mean, we had the whole Connor Stallions with sign stealing and all of that, but there's so much video out there now. And we used to kind of sit in the dugout. We'd sit there and try to steal signs, and you'd have 2 or 3 watching. Now you could just get a little bit of B-roll and crank out, this happened here, and the speed at which we're processing even the things that we were holding closest.
It would not shock me in the slightest if big-time college football programs didn't have snipers at practice ready to pick off drones. I'm serious. I could, and it's something Nick Saban would think of.
Yes.
Like it would not
secure
shock
the perimeter.
Me. Yes, exactly. We got a bogey in the southwest corner. I mean, it's unbelievable. But when, it sounds like crazy fiction until you have a Connor Stallions.
That's right.
And you think guys bringing CIA techniques to college football. It's like, good gracious.
Mm-hmm. No,
unbelievable.
Absolutely. And so even the gamesmanship has changed. I remember, you Mississippi State guy, I remember Mike Leach when he, dropped the fake playbook, and, they bit.
Oh, yeah.
It was a bit. So,
absolutely.
So I do wonder, in trying to get the information about these players, are there mechanisms to evaluate it more quickly? Because I'm just thinking at the time alone, just to break down one new offensive lineman and see if you see any, weaknesses or tendencies that are cues. I mean, there was one Iron Bowl. I think it was the honk if you sack Brody, where the center did just flip the ball just a little bit. And they called Alabama after the game and said, hey, you need to tell your center to not give away the run pass play. And they've been sitting on it in film study.
Yeah.
Now, there has to be a way to continue to get that information, but I'm almost convinced it's going to be outsourced to technology. And here's what you're going to find, and this is what happens.
Norvell was in an article. He was telling about all the hours they spent on the individual Alabama players, looking at them individually and the tendencies that they run. These hours and hours.
Well, that's where these analysts are. So
that's what they were doing.
That's what they're doing there, and that's the piece. If you compare DeBoer and Saban, that I think we're waiting to see that type of A-level execution of the details. I mean, the prep work that went in. I remember sitting down in Miami as we were getting ready to play Notre Dame and that game, and he had even gone through, as we're listening to pregame, 6 hours of pregame, sitting there in the middle of Miami Gardens, in the middle of nowhere. But he didn't go through each of the officials on the Pac-12 crew calling the game. Like this is what you need to know about these guys. And no stone left unturned in the preparation work.
Right.
Those lapses that you speak of with Sanders, with DeBoer, I think go back to this inability. Georgia Southern. I mean, the epic speech. So not taking any of those things for granted.
Yeah.
So the game is shifting. The coaches are going to have to shift. Technology is certainly going to have to shift that, and it does impact trying to take this team that's been built for a season, transfer heavy loaded. Mm-hmm. How do you get ready for everything? Because
100%.
Once you get a couple weeks out, well, now we know here's the team on the field. But game one.
Well, and certainly when you match high-level talent against high-level talent, the margin for victory and defeat is so small that something that seems completely meaningless can be the difference in the game.
You ask any FSU fan or anybody that talks about FSU, they have no idea what kind of team they're going to do. They have no idea how they're going to play. Yeah. They have no idea.
Right.
So
I don't either.
Yeah.
I have no idea what to expect from this football game.
Tommy was talking about heat at Doak Campbell. I did check the weather, initial weather for 10 days out here, 86 degrees.
Oh, okay.
40% chance of rain.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
So you get these lightning strikes. This game that starts at 2:30 could end at 8:30.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm just telling you. I sat in Tampa watching all that happen.
I don't want to say that at midnight.
So even that. So all of these things lead to the intrigue of next Saturday.
Good gracious! Well,
I just hate for Florida State to have to start with a team like Alabama. What happened last year? I wish they had a better, a better team a better draw.
Yeah, like Long Island, like Florida's got.
Or we'd take East Texas A&M as the first game. The second game.
I always like to work out the kinks.
There you go.
But your element of surprise is gone unless you just throw a completely different new offense.
Well, thank you, Jeremy, for the Alabama update brought to you by Steverson Air Conditioning. Again, don't forget about Jay Michaels today, Dr. Chad Mitchell, who loves those Alabama Crimson Tide as well. And then, John, if we're going to get some jewelry looked at or get something new, where are we going?
Free jewelry inspection.
Free
jewelry cleaning. No, free jewelry inspection.
Okay. I thought we had free jewelry.
Free cleaning, and you can take that old piece of jewelry that your wife had hidden away and she hasn't worn for years and years. Take it there, get it cleaned, get it fixed up real nice and pretty. Give it to her, tell her it's brand new. She'll never know because it's been in that box forever and ever. And then climb into that big easy chair and put on the surround sound and watch a little football. That's all you got to do. Or if you've got some jewelry you'd like to sell, you're a little hard up on cash, they buy gold and they buy silver. And they give you better prices for it than these pawn shops and places like that. What am I talking about? David Adamson Designer Jewelry, 830 Highway 77 in Lynn Haven.
When we get back, we're heading over to the Plains to talk about the Auburn Tigers and their preparation to play what is quietly becoming one of the big games on the national calendar here against the Baylor Bears. A lot of implications on that game. That's coming up next. You're listening to the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
rely on it.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For this afternoon and evening, a chance of thunderstorms and mostly sunny, and a high of 88 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the southwest. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a very light wind and quite warm near 80. Mostly sunny in the morning, but otherwise likely thunderstorms, and 87 tomorrow. 86 and moderate rain and definite thunderstorms Saturday. This is your Thursday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Discover the new Kia. We invite you to stop by Bill Bird Kia and test drive the new 2025 Kia. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. The 2025 Kia SUV family has movement that inspires. Drive away today in a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. Fuel the thrill and command the road in the luxury of a 2025 Kia K5 sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Performance, power, and design built for you. Spark inspiration in the all-electric 2025 EV9. It's a modern masterpiece, fast charging, rugged, and roomy. Bill Bird Kia is the original home for the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
Want to know the inside scoop on your favorite teams? From the gridiron to the hardwood to the diamond. For comprehensive sports coverage, it's ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michael Studio.
Auburn Update brought to you here on the Coach James Hale Show by Pat Perno and Beef O'Brady's up there in Lynn Haven. We just talked about going out and getting some jewelry. You know, it's kind of a preemptive shot for your, college football season.
Move, guys.
Smart move. And another smart move is to head over to Beef O'Brady's and get out there for a great, great meal. TVs everywhere. You know about the great food specials and everything like that, but let me tell you something. The staff that Pat has there at Beef O'Brady's, they are the friendliest and nicest and the most helpful staff any restaurant I've been to. Get out to Beef O'Brady's. Thank them for their sponsorship of the Auburn Tigers here on the Coach James Hale Show. Well, there's a lot to get into. Chris Doering actually came out and said that, Auburn, their game against Baylor on Friday next week might end up being the SEC's most important Week 1 game. Now, there's a good debate there with LSU Clemson, but I think his thought was LSU at Clemson, the loser of that game can still really go forward. I think his thought was with Auburn and Baylor, if Auburn were to lose that game, it really kind of gets, the fan base that, let's say, is cautiously optimistic but is ready to blow up at any moment here, that could really spiral a team out of control. And look, Dave Aranda hasn't been on the steadiest footing at Baylor since he's been there either.
He is not. And I've always liked Aranda, loved what he did at LSU.
Yeah.
He was, just consistent. I'm not sure if it's trying to compel people to come to Waco.
Sure.
That could be a bit of a challenge.
Too many SEC teams in Waco.
But Aranda's a solid coach.
Yeah.
And that's the piece where scheming against Auburn, scheming against Freeze is not going to be a challenge for him. Does he have the talent to hold up is
right.
The X factor.
Well, and to that point, we talk about Dave Aranda being a defensive genius, which I absolutely think he is. You've got a bit of a, I don't know if the phrase is right, but a bit of a wounded tiger, if you will, in the fact that, look, Auburn's got a 5-star guy who's transferred in, but it was a 5-star guy Oklahoma didn't want in Jackson Arnold. And I don't mean that as a shot at him. It wasn't working. And this statement by Hugh Freeze, I don't know if this is a little bit of that gamesmanship, if it's trying to keep people off, or if it's indicative of the fact that he's not terribly happy with what's going on. During his Monday evening edition of Tiger Talk, Coach Freeze hinted that all 3 of Auburn's quarterbacks could see playing time in the season opener against Baylor. That would be Jackson Arnold, Ashton Daniels, and Deuce Knight. So You know, if I'm an Auburn fan, I'm hopeful that's Hugh Freeze trying to mix it up. I'm a little bit worried that's a lack of confidence. And quite frankly, Hugh Freeze, who's supposed to have been the quarterback whisperer, he has not had any real confidence in his quarterback since he's been at Auburn.
No, he is not.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know.
Certainly there is now, okay, well, we've got to study all three, which takes precious time away from the prep.
And they're very different type players.
And they're very different players. But I also suspect there's a little bit of truth if you're Freeze that gives you some cover. But then they're going to go, well, aren't you in charge?
Yeah, exactly.
your quarterback.
Yeah, you act like you're a passenger in this thing here.
Right.
It's crazy. But, well, the one thing he can rely on is over on the defensive side of the ball. Keldrick Falk is turning into one of the nation's top players. In fact, in the latest Field Yates mock draft for ESPN, he had Keldrick Falk being drafted number 6 by the Carolina Panthers. Now, Falk is an edge rusher there for Auburn in what should be a very, at least on the front end, I think they're a little bit worried about the back end of the defense just a little bit, but the front 7, they really feel pretty solid about there at Auburn, at least keeping them in games if the quarterback position is a little bit wary. But, you know, the irony in all of this setup for Auburn, I'm not real high on their team this year based on just what I've seen, but their schedule really lines up well for them. This game is so critical against Baylor because if you, like we said, if you get off to a win in this game, it can really set the mood of your players right. It give you that momentum. We saw last year.
Yep.
Florida State goes over to Ireland, all the expectations in the world, and they come up a little bit short in what was probably one of their better played games of the year last year, but they come up short against a team, ended up being a little better than we thought, but it wrecked the psyche of that program for the rest of the year.
No FSU fans is vacation in Ireland.
Yeah, so I was actually I was flying back through Charlotte when a lot of them were actually going to the game.
Yeah.
So I saw a ton of FSU fans connecting through Charlotte and going over like that, and yeah, I don't think I'll see that anytime soon.
Kansas State and Ohio State can have ours.
I was in Dublin 2 months after the game. They still had a few shirts left.
All right, well, I have to get y'all's take on this because we spent a half hour on this yesterday, and I thought originally it's not April. I'm not reading The Onion. Is this real? Auburn, of course, is now claiming 7 additional national championships.
Congratulations.
Now, we found out Mike Donahue in the early 1900s was a heck of a coach. He won 3 national championships in 5 years, you know, who's somebody I didn't know. And then, I'll be honest, it was a good history lesson. Because, Jeremy, we all know they've claimed 1957, which is legitimate. I mean, it was an AP one. The following year, they went 8-0-1. I didn't realize they followed that up with an undefeated season with a tie. So, and then obviously
93.
They claimed 93, which they were on probation for. Yeah. But they were 11-0 under Terry Bowden. And then in 2004, that's a sore subject because a lot of people feel Auburn absolutely had every right to be in that national championship.
And boy,
game
you talk
04.
about an unusual set of circumstances that led to the 04 piece. Auburn and USC scheduling a home and home in the previous 2 years with games that were just duds.
Yeah. It should have been the national championship in 04.
And it should have been the national championship in 04, and no one wanted to see that game because the previous 2 years
that's right.
Yeah.
clouded the judgment. Yeah. It shouldn't have.
No.
Shouldn't have, because, look, Oklahoma had no business, but if there was a BCS computer software generator, he lived in Norman.
You know? That's 100% true.
Those computers loved Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, look, and this is not a joke. These things are going up on the ring at Jordan-Hare as we speak. I mean, they're going to be there. And look, we laughed about it yesterday. The team that has, suffered the jokes and whims of, being awarded the Wonder Bread Tuscaloosa News National Championship in 1937 or whatever. Alabama's lived on those for years, so I'm sure it was a bit of a shot. Was it to deflect the narrative that maybe hasn't been the greatest over the last month for Auburn? I don't know. I just think it was interesting. I think it certainly has provided us some fun.
There are probably 4 that in the shared format that we've had, the split titles we've had, they could claim right to.
Yeah,
4.
I absolutely believe 04. I won't give them 93 because I don't believe you should be eligible if you were on probation, regardless of course, there was some thought that there was a bit of a probation in 57, but it was certainly different. Yeah. And then there were, again, the 58 is an interesting claim, being undefeated, defending champs. And then there was one of the early, maybe it was 1913, where they were like 8-0. Okay, I give them that one.
Right, yeah.
Over like a Minnesota, whoever did win it.
I remember listening to Coach Dye, and he was speaking about...
83 was another one they gave him.
Yeah, and of course, back when it was all... You go into the day, Sugar Bowl, Orange Bowl, sorts it all out, and life was good, and he moved on January 2nd. But I remember Dye himself saying, the national championships were all mythical. That was his exact word when he spoke, that a group of people got together and just said, yep, we think that's the champion.
Yeah.
And best you could do in the system that we had at the time. I don't know that... we missed too many times, and there were times where you just had to go, we've got a split here, Georgia Tech, BYU, Colorado.
Yeah, I think what you hated the most wasn't so much that they got the champion wrong, but I think of 1989 when David Smith was quarterback at Alabama, and Alabama played Miami in the Sugar Bowl. Miami should have been national champion that year, and they were. But they're playing a number 10 or 11 ranked Alabama.
Right.
What you wanted to see was 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3, at least something like that. And the bowl tie-ins at the time made that almost impossible.
Impossible. You had to have those free agents out there in the Big East because the Big Ten and the Pac-8 and then 10 got locked up in the Rose Bowl, and then you had
you needed a Miami or a Notre Dame or a Florida State at the time
to be able to move them to New Orleans or what have you. So we've improved from that, but it also led to the intrigue around the game that kept the fan bases talking, and here we are 100 years later talking about.
100%. 100%.
With the computers, with the technology we have now, do you think that's going to improve the selection? Or is that going... I mean, they can do all kinds of stuff now.
I don't know. I mean, again, the thing is we all know that a team week 1... Take, for example, we were talking about this off the air when DeAndre Francois went down. Alabama played Florida State number 3. That was a totally different Florida State team than they were 8 weeks later because of certain circumstances. So now Alabama's win doesn't look that good because they beat an FSU team that's maybe a game over 500, whereas when they played them, that was a real football team. That's going to be hard for, I think, the computers to truly judge.
And they don't, there's no, and I noticed in that when I was looking at that information, there's nothing about an injured player. They just can say it, but there's nothing in the metrics at all about. And I don't know how they would do it.
That's the thing. That's really hard to quantify, and that's why, as much as we say we want to take subjectivity out of it, we really don't because that's what we feel. So, anyway, I want to thank Beef O'Brady's again for sponsoring the Auburn update here as Auburn prepares for its big Week 1 game against Baylor next Friday. Want to talk about some more of our great sponsors here. Again, on the Coach James Hale Show. Again, Steve's Bike Shop. It was great to talk to Coach Steve this morning there. If you want one of the original OG bikes or one of those new electric bikes, get out to Steve's Bike Shop there on 23rd Street across from Sam's. They've been in business since 1979. That Cajun Place going to be the best place to watch all this college football anytime a game is on. 50-cent wings there. TK Vandy Roofing there. Make sure you call Kyle and the crew out there for all your roofing needs. And Dr. John Ward, dermatology specialist. Don't become a skin cancer statistic. If something doesn't look right, call Dr. Ward. Get you an appointment set up today. You are listening to the Coach James Hale Show. When we come back, we're going to talk some SEC football, and then it's time to do our picks. Vegas, pay attention. That's next. ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show. And the first player to win 5 straight times on the PGA Tour in consecutive years since Tiger Woods back in 06 and 07. And I know it sounds blasphemous to say, put Scottie Scheffler and Tiger Woods in the same conversation. If you're looking at Tiger at his Tiger-ish, Scottie is at least close.
It's the Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
So you've heard the saying that if you love your job, you'll never have to work? Well, it's true.
I've worked for Brock Lawn and Pest Control for many years. The commitment to the needs of customers
and their commitment to each employee makes Brock a company I'm very proud to be a part of.
Brock's core values are also mine. Give people more than they expect and always honor your promises.
This isn't a job. It's a service to help people live a healthier lifestyle.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control. Our family protecting your family.
When it comes to building smart and roofing right, TK Vandy's is the name you can trust. They're your go-to for general contracting, design, build solutions, and top quality roofing. From concept to completion, they deliver excellence on time and on budget. Whether it's a custom build or a complex renovation, they've got you covered, literally. Call TK Vandy today and build something better together. TK Vandy, built with purpose, roofed with pride.
Do you know who I am?
If he was the last person on Earth,
I'm kind of a big deal.
mankind would still have a chance.
We may have to repopulate the Earth.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show.
I'm very important.
Live from the J. Michael Studio on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
A little funky here on a Thursday. Got that disco ball going.
Got to get up, do a little something to get your blood. Do a little jig.
Brian Haddad sitting in for Coach James Hale today on the James Hale Show, joined by Jeremy Pridgeon and Tommy Santamont and the Wildcat himself. So I was looking at CBSSports.com because, why not? Wanted to find one of those famous Coach Hale polls that had Alabama or Nick Saban at the top. But they had their kind of predictions on the SEC season. I did find it, pretty interesting. So of all their analysts, and there's way too many of them, I think all but 2 had Texas winning the SEC. The other 2 had LSU winning that. Now, the lowest Texas was in anybody's predictions was 4th. And then on the bottom end of things, Big Bad John, everybody had one of 3 teams finishing last. Mississippi State, Kentucky,
segment,
or Vanderbilt.
Just skip the segment.
But I will say Brandon Marcello is my new favorite CBS analyst because he had Mississippi State as high as 14th. So there we go, baby. We're better than 2 teams. But I do want to get into these bold predictions that they made because some of them are fairly interesting, and kind of want y'all's thoughts on this, see if this is, reasonable or, if they're just off their rockers. So we'll start with Tom Fornelli. Now, Fornelli's the one who had Texas ranked number 4 in the SEC in his mind. And so what he says is, and this kind of goes into a little bit of what we talked about last, there will be no fewer than 3 interim coaches on the sidelines during rivalry week to end the season. Does that sound about right, guys? Or is that too many? Or, Lord knows, is it too few?
That's about right.
Okay.
I think that's about right.
And we talked about that, the fact that in this day and age of transfer portals and having to maintain a roster, you're not going to see a whole lot of coaches fired at the end of the season
Got to
anymore.
get that window cleared. Yeah.
Wow. So 3's about right, you think?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And then do these interims springboard into post?
Yeah.
Or do they just placehold?
Well, let's just...
Joe Kines.
Let's brainstorm. We were talking off air. We think Kentucky's a possibility that Stoops may, quote, retire, resign, or something, announce it like that. But who else are we looking at? Are we looking at the usual suspects here? Arkansas, Auburn?
for sure.
Arkansas, Sam It could be
Yeah.
short timer. If it gets hot enough on the bayou,
Yeah.
know.
LSU's possible. Florida, they've got high expectations this year and still have a brutal
still
schedule.
have a brutal schedule, so don't rule out Baton Rouge or Gainesville.
Why don't they just start rotating coaches through the, through the whole system? Okay, you're here for a year, 2
Well,
years,
they say
and then rotate.
Yeah, the great coaches can take his and beat yours, and take yours and beat his. And then we've had some that we've said, no, he can take his and lose to yours.
Let me throw one out that I don't think it'll happen because they don't have a really fast trigger on coaches like a lot of the other SEC schools, but Missouri is one I'm just not sure about. I know they've got the easiest schedule on paper, but this team, I know they've got a lot of starters back, but they lost the key production starters they have.
I think he did enough a couple of years ago to buy some time there. Columbia is a dreadful place in the winter.
Yes, it is.
You win half your games, you can stay.
Yeah. All right. So next, Chip Patterson. Here we go, Jeremy. Alabama will have a top 5 scoring defense nationally. The Tide will have a pretty high floor when it comes to this category, annually ranking inside the top 20 and usually inside the top 15. But it's been a while since we looked to Tuscaloosa to find one of the country's truly dominant units.
Top 5.
I don't know that that's terribly bold.
I can see that. I mean, if we're optimistic about the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, so, that would be nice to see one of those suffocating defenses that, LSU couldn't get the ball across the 50 for 3 quarters.
That.
I mean, that's fun.
Well, and the thing is, look, and Coach Hale's talked about it a lot on this show. He didn't like the shift that Kane Womack went to, kind of in his defensive mindset versus Saban. But I actually think Kane Womack's one of the 5 best defensive minds in the country. I felt that way when he was head coach at South Alabama. I do think the thing that hurt them last year was when you have recruited your entire roster to Saban's basically typical 3-4 kind of setup, then I understand, that it's going to be a little bit bumpy while you're trying to make that transition.
Right.
Now that you've changed that over, the only area where they're really maybe about the same as last year to me is the interior linebackers. I think their edge guys are all better. They've got a couple of stud defensive linemen, and the secondary looks solid.
Really good.
Solid.
So yeah, I think this is going to be a banner year. So again, I like it. I just don't think that's terribly bold. Brandon Marcello, who has my Bulldogs at 14, so you can dismiss everything he says, right? He says the SEC champion Texas will finish with 2 or 3 losses. And he thinks at Ohio State, at Georgia, and possibly at Florida before making a deep run in the CFP. He also says that South Carolina will slide back to the middle of the pack.
Where did he have Mississippi State?
14.
Okay, dismiss all this.
Well, there we go. I don't think if Texas wins the SEC, they would have that many losses.
No.
I do agree with him. I think South Carolina is sliding back middle pack. I love Beamer. I think he does more with less than anybody, but I don't think he's ever strung 2 good years back to back.
That's Paul Feinbaum's quarterback of the year.
I know.
Alabama's coming to town this year. And I like Beamer a lot, but that's a little too much.
John Talty says Florida. Here we go, Tommy. Florida starts the season in the top 15 and yet ends the year unranked after another grueling schedule deflates the Gators' hype balloon. He says that Florida will be a better team than it was in 2024, but that brutal 4-game stretch against LSU, Miami, Texas, and Texas A&M, and then they still have to play Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Florida State. He said Napier would be a miracle worker if he could get his team to 8-5 like he did last year.
Well, Scott Lagway's still there. They did some good job recruiting. I think they're going to surprise people. I mean, I don't think they're going to beat all that heavy schedule there, but I think they're going to be as good as they were last year. I really do, or maybe a little bit better.
Jeremy, does that sound right to you? Or I think if they're in that 8-win, they'll be ranked.
Yeah.
It's quite possible, though. I mean, that's a gauntlet, what you just described with LSU, A&M, Longhorns, Miami, rival game. That's tough.
Well, here's the next one, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce this guy's name. Shehan Jiraiya, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, says the SEC ends up being the most underwhelming quarterback conference in the country. LSU's Garrett Nussmeier elevates himself to number one pick consideration, but none of Sellers, Lagway, Manning, or Mateer are able to live up to off-the-charts expectations. Well, he's right about the expectations being high.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's right in banking on Nussmeier being the one to come out of that group.
Okay, fair enough.
Manning's a big question mark to me.
Sure.
I have no.
Not buying Manning yet.
Yeah.
No. This is interesting because pendulums swing, and are we moving into an era with transfer portals, inability to build systems where it's easier to pick up a defensive scheme than it is an offensive scheme? And I suspect this may be pretty close. I don't know that we're going to see these high-powered, prolific offenses. Those take time to cultivate to me. I can tell somebody on the other side of the ball, go get the guy with the ball.
Yeah.
So he may be onto something. We may see a lot of the quote-unquote game manager type quarterbacks grinding out 28-17 type wins.
I was going to say, of all of these guys, the only one to me that has true wow potential is Lagway.
Yeah, Lagway.
That's the only one.
Yeah.
I agree.
Last one I want to get to here to make LSU Jeff happy. LSU, well, this first part won't make him happy. LSU loses week 1 against Clemson, but still goes on to win the SEC. It's an interesting one.
That is. It is possible. Whew, that would be the most bitter SEC championship LSU's ever won.
Especially if they draw Clemson again in the playoff. But that'd be interesting. Like I said, look up the CBS analysts, the only team that received votes to be SEC champions outside of Texas.
And if LSU beats Clemson, how's that going to affect Clemson's season? I would see it. I can see Clemson beating LSU
and getting a virtual playoff lock.
And the funny thing about Clemson is, look, I mean, their expectations the last 3 weeks have really taken off. So, you know, they're not under the radar anymore. I think Dabo probably liked it better when they were going to sneak under the radar.
They got 3 or 4 elite players on that team. Big, nice players.
Oh, absolutely right. So, all right, well, let's talk about El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill. You're looking for the best Mexican down here on Panama City Beach. Get out and visit them there at El Rodeo Tequila. Turf Pro Pest Control. Patrick and the crew will get your yard looking absolutely wonderful. Remove those unwanted pests and insects. Max Fit Sports Nutrition. Go see Jason Kovaleski where you can try it before you buy it. You want to look better. You want to feel better. You want to get bigger, stronger, faster. Go see Max Fit Sports Nutrition on Panama City Beach and in town. And don't forget about Taco Bell and all of their sponsorship of the Port St. Joe Tiger Sharks. We're going to have Coach Jones in here on Friday, thanks to the fine friends at Taco Bell. When we come back, it's time to pick some high school football games. I can't believe it, guys. We're actually here. That's coming up next. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you sick of the old sports talk? The vanilla opinions? The polite debates? The hosts who are afraid to say what they really think? So are we. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is bringing the house. It's the new Sports Blitz.
Weekdays 4 to 6.
We're starting arguments, not conversations. The Sports Blitz.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For this afternoon and evening, a chance of thunderstorms and mostly sunny, and a high of 88 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the southwest. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a very light wind and quite warm near 80. Mostly sunny in the morning, but otherwise likely thunderstorms, and 87 tomorrow. 86 and moderate rain and definite thunderstorms Saturday. This is your Thursday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Your NFL and college football headquarters is Dak Cajun Place. With 27 TVs, you won't miss a play or a game. Score 50-cent wings during live games every Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. 50-cent wings and $5 pitchers during live games only at Dak Cajun Place. LSU and Saints fans, wear your team colors and get free Jell-O shots when LSU or the Saints score. Plus brunch on Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 2 with $3 mimosas. Game like a local at Dak Cajun Place.
Great design is timeless, and that's why Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves offers a stunning selection of vintage, antique, estate jewelry on sale now at 40% off. Exquisite Victorian rings, Art Deco diamond brooches, Georgian and Art Deco bracelets, earrings, and pendants. These one-of-a-kind pieces add personality to any ensemble, and now at 40% off. Find your timeless treasure at Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves.
I don't always talk to Alabama fans, but when I do, I ask for large fries. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back into the Coach James Hale Show here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Oh, my goodness, I am so over the moon because we are going to go on the line and make ourselves look like fools with our picks because high school season starts tonight.
Anything can happen.
Oh, my goodness.
Anything
and everything will happen. That is for certain. In fact, how about this for anything can happen? Port St. Joe finds himself in a bye week 1.
Yes.
They'll win that one.
What in the world?
I had the Sharks.
I don't know. I had some years at Mississippi State where we were a 3-point underdog to Idle. But anyway, all right, Jeremy, take it away here.
All right, let's get the high school football out here. And I was telling you earlier, it struck me we don't have a lot of out-of-state visitors coming in.
That's right.
Nor do we have any of ours heading off to play in Georgia or Alabama like we've seen. There's a few of those matches, but not as many, and none in week 1. So we're all amongst friends and neighbors here. So you mentioned the Tiger Sharks. They're open, so they're going to be victorious. Congrats to them.
Yep.
Let's head up to Cottondale. The Hornets taking on the neighbors from the other end of Jackson County, the Sneads Pirates. Sneads has wavered a little bit last year, but
they got a 14-7 win in the Jamboree over Mariana.
Got it done. That's exactly right. Last year didn't live up to the expectations, but then they come out and get the Bulldogs. I thought it was an interesting game because if I was Sneads, I don't need to play Mariana, but they took the game and they won. Now, obviously, these games are controlled, and we don't know how all of them are played. Right. Some may have been varsity first half, JV second half, but you got a W on the board, and you took it back to Sneads there. So I'm going to take the Pirates on the road at Cottondale.
Jeremy? Or Tommy?
I'm taking Bill and Sneads.
I think I'm going to take Sneads as well. I think last year was kind of an aberration, and you know, Cottondale's not going to be as high scoring as they were a year ago, so give me Sneads here as well.
All right, down in Franklin County, Milton Central, that's coming down, making the long road trip over from Santa Rosa County. This one's interesting. I lived in Santa Rosa County for 5 years, and you've got Pace, and then you had Jay. But the growth, the explosive growth of Santa Rosa County has led to Central adding, football as one of their programs now. And if you're not playing at Pace, that doesn't mean you're not a bad football player.
That's right.
And I know that Franklin County is, just dealing with who they have there. So I think Central may come over and get Franklin on this one just from a population draw standpoint. So give me Central.
The name Milton's enough. I'll go with me.
Yeah. I agree. Like you said, they're going to have great players, so Milton Central.
Chipley heading over to North Florida. Chipley, obviously a solid program year in, year out. But this is one of these, you mentioned the preps and the academies. Hard to know what NFC has assembled. That's right. Shipley grows them up. NFC assembles.
Yeah. Best recruiting you get.
And NFC played Arnold for a half and Destin for a half in their Jamboree, and they came up short in both. Yeah. But those are two good opponents.
Yeah. So.
That's a tough one.
Game in Chipley, I would take Chipley hands down. But I may still lean with the Tigers.
Okay.
Just because there may be enough, because of what you noted around the wavering of the Eagles last week in the Jamboree. So give me Chipley.
I'm going to take North Florida.
Okay. Oh, we finally have a little consternation. I'm going to take Chipley as well, just because, to be perfectly honest, I don't know enough about North Florida to say. All right, up next.
Between now and when they play the game, they're going to have some more players coming in. Y'all do know that, don't you?
Fair enough.
They're going to be recruiting some more.
All right, Baker at Vernon. Baker Gators didn't live up to their expectations last year. Vernon has coaching change
tough
here.
Tough
off season. Coach from St. Joe went up, and, but give me the Gators.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I'll
Baker's
take 'em,
too good here.
Yeah.
Baker.
Okay.
All right. Graceville, the Tigers head south to Weewall Hitchcock. Weewall got drummed over in Osceola during the Jamboree. Graceville, it's one of these that has struggled to maintain a program some years. I think the Gators get it done at home.
You taking Weewall
I'm
Gators?
taking Weewall. Give me the home team.
I can't go against the Gators. They're too close to Bluffstown.
Yeah, and Graceville would be such a cool story if they got a win here, but going to Weewall is not a good place to start. So
yeah. All right. Let's speaking of Bluntstown, there's no love lost between these two, 4 miles apart. Bluntstown at Liberty County.
That's the easy one. I'm taking the Tigers. Bluntstown Tigers.
I think Bluntstown could have a special year this year. I really do. I'm going to take Bluntstown.
Tigers big. Even though you cross the bridge, you're still down 7 points.
You make it across the bridge.
So no shutout.
Get back.
All
right. North Bay Haven heads over to Freeport. I think the Bulldogs are going to get the upper hand on our Bucks.
Yeah.
You going to Freeport?
Freeport.
Yeah, I'm going to take Freeport.
Freeport was one of the most dangerous teams last year and, could play terrible too, but North Bay Haven's still rebuilding, so I got Freeport here.
All right. And Mariana, aforementioned Mariana, came up short against Sneeds, has to play Walton, Funiac. I think the woes for the Bulldogs are going to continue. I'm going to take the Braves.
I'm taking Walton, too.
They finished the season so strong last year. I know it's hard in high school to carry that from one year to the next, but I like Walton as well.
The South Walton came through last Friday night, still unscathed because they didn't get on the field with the Dolphins. They get another set of Dolphins this week. They get the Gulf Breeze Dolphins. I'm going to take South Walton. Gulf Breeze, this is the wrong football. Gulf Breeze plays soccer very well.
I don't know as much about Gulf Breeze as I have in past years, but I like what South Walton's doing.
I've got South Walton on the game.
Got about 2 minutes
with
here.
The Dolphins. All right, so tonight, Bay at Arnold. A little chippy right now. At Tommy
a few talking points.
So this is interesting. I mean, this is in county. There's a little bit of fire. It's going to come down to turnovers, mistakes, short field. Who you got? I get to go last. I got the pen.
I see steam coming out of your ears.
I hate doing this. I think Arnold is going to come in with an edge. I think Coach is going to have him raring to go, and I know Bay wants revenge for last year, but I've just got this funny feeling Arnold pulls out another tight one to start us off.
Arnold, for sure.
All right.
Hate to go against Jeremy, but that's...
I think we got the Marlins here. All right, two left. Bozeman Bucks and the Holmes County Blue Devils.
This might be the game of the week.
Yeah, if you're looking for, I think it'd be a head-knocking good football game. And
1 minute.
Where's that going to be played?
At Holmes before the rodeo. So that's all good.
Holmes. At Holmes.
You're dodging the obstacles on the field.
I'm going to take the home team, Holmes County, but don't rule out the Bucks coming up and getting it done.
I'm going to say Bozeman.
Okay.
I'm going to take Holmes County as well.
Right.
I bet against them too many times and lost.
And we talked to Coach earlier.
Last game.
Rutherford, Mosley. I've got the Dolphins getting it done.
Yeah, Mosley.
Yeah, a little anticlimactic here. I think Rutherford, again, they did it last year, plays them tight for, a half. But, Mosley's too deep and too good. So.
All right. Iowa State, Kansas State, 30 seconds.
Ireland.
Kansas State.
Kansas State.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming in as well. We're on the line with our picks. Jeremy, Tommy, thank you very much. Wildcat, Thank you. Check out the Sports Blitz with Paul this afternoon, and I'm not sure who's going to be in the big chair tomorrow, so you'll have to tune in to find out. You've been listening to the Coach James Hale Show here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Anyway, I found a clip that Glenn Manley might tell you a little something.